How many people? Was it not Joseph? Was it not Joseph? Because the Bible says that there was nobody, no workers. No workers have been there again. All workers have gone out. Was it not Joseph alone? Am I lying? It was Joseph alone, right? It is the Joseph alone we can see. It is only you we can see sitting down. Only you we can see sitting down. But in the spirit. Now, let's bring it to equation of the spirit. Imagine if Joseph had fallen in the bedroom of Potiphar, then he will not go to the dungeon. Am I correct? He will not go to dungeon because he refused. That is why he went to dungeon. He stood by his calling. He stood by the vision God showed him about the 11 ships bowing, 11 stars, moon and sun bowing. A vision, economic influence, a vision of political influence. He saw it. But if he had bowed in the Potiphar's bedroom, he will not go to the prison. He will not go to the dungeon, right? And then he will not see the baker and the butler, right? He will not interpret dream for them, right? And the 7 years of surplus will still have come. And Egypt will eat everything finish. And then the 7 years of famine will now come. Because there was nobody to interpret any dream for Nebuchadnezzar or for Pharaoh. Nobody could interpret any dream for Pharaoh. They didn't know that they had to keep anything or hold anything back or had their store. They finished everything. Then 7 years of famine upon the whole land, even up to Canaan land, will still come. How will Jacob survive? How will Benjamin have food to eat? How will Judah have food to eat? Now, let me now bring it down. When Joseph was standing that day before Potiphar at the valley of temptation, as he was standing that day, it was not only him that was standing. He was standing on behalf of the entire tribe of Israel. He was standing. Judah was standing behind him. Simeon, Naphtali, Levi, Benjamin. They were all standing beside him. And Baba Jacob also was standing behind him. In the spirit, spiritually speaking. And as he ran out that day, he was running out of that room on behalf of the house of Israel. And I imagine, as he was running out, the whole house of Israel ran after him out. They escaped. Then he came to the dungeon. Physically, you would think it is finished for Joseph. No. The dungeon was just a passage, corridor, passageway to the palace. There. The palace was over there. This is the passage towards the palace. But in the dungeon, it seems as if that is terrible, terrible situation. And then he appeared in the palace. And Pharaoh said, I heard that you interpret dreams. And he said, it is not in me to interpret dreams. It is in God. Let me hear it. And he told him, after interpreting the dreams, then Pharaoh said, and Joseph said, he advised the king, I advise you, look for a very wise man to manage the economy at that time. And the king said, can we find such a wise man as this, in whom is the Spirit of God? You are the wise man. He gave him his robe, he gave him his chariot. He became second in command. By standing in that palace that day, Jacob, though he was in Canaan land, Jacob had stood there. Benjamin came, Judah came, Reuben came, Simeon came. All of them stepped into that same palace Joseph was standing. What am I trying to say today? Standing upon your faith and pursuing your vision is not only for you. Behind you, I ask, how many people are sitting on your seat? You say one. Physically one. What about all the destinies attached to your life? What about the destiny attached to your obedience? What about the lives and souls of men attached to your obedience or disobedience? Attached to your rising or falling? Do you know how many people are waiting for your manifestation? If you keep on the track and you keep focusing on obtaining the promise. The promise is the plan of God for your life. Obtaining the promise that God has made when He created you, what He wanted you to be. Quick, Peter, follow me, I will make you fishers of men. That is the promise. And eventually, Peter became fishers of men. He was no longer fishing for fish. He was bringing souls to God. I pray for every one of you today. Every plan of God for your life, what God has invested in your life, shall not be wasted. All the university you go, the degrees you have, they are all investment from heaven for the purpose of becoming what the Lord wants you to be. And you will not waste it. I want the amen to be very loud. Let's rise up on our feet. Rise up on your feet. I want you to pray. You are not useless. When God is talking about calling and purpose and mercy, family background has nothing to do with it. And status has nothing to do with it.